this is why I don't avoid conflict. Now, for a lot of people, this is going to be hard too. Thinking about tension and stress and frustration with someone and thinking, why did they do me like that? Why did they do something wrong? They knew they shouldn't have done that. Why did they do it? Or it could be the opposite when you know you've done something wrong and there's a conversation that you need to have, but for some reason it feels too hard to do that. It feels safer to just avoid that person and avoid that quote unquote conflict than actually have the conversation. And so when I look back at who I was growing up, I was the person who always had to avoid conflict. I avoided taking any sort of ownership of the way that I treated people. And, the worst one that I can think of, even when I think about it now, I'm like, far out, why did I do that to someone that I was supposed to love and care about and have up on this pedestal? It's when I played up, and I played up with my best friend's partner. And I remember getting called out for that and just like collapsing inside. I would have been, 18 or 19 years old. And I had a friend group that were just freaking amazing. They were just such fun to be around, and I loved being around them. And they just let me be myself, even though I was someone who lied a lot because I wanted to look cooler or tougher or whatever it was. But I had this friend who was just, when I look back at it, he was just such an amazing person, and I was very lucky to have him in my life. But, I did the wrong thing. And when I got called out and called forward on it, instead of stepping into it and taking full ownership and going, bro, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have messed up. Instead of taking ownership and being okay to receive whatever come my way as a result of my actions and my decisions, especially my decisions that hurt someone else's feeling, like make them feel unsafe, make them feel hurt, make them feel disrespected, like they couldn't trust me, and that is obvious, right? Instead of doing that, I chose to run away to Australia, like to Kalgoorlie. That is why I'm here. As a 18, 19-year-old, I ran away because of that. I ran away because it was more money too, but because I wasn't willing to step into conflict, especially as the person who was the reason for it. I wasn't willing to take ownership. I couldn't have that conversation. I couldn't imagine a scenario where I was in the wrong, where I had been caught out, where I had done something wrong and I have to face the consequences of that. I remember turning up after being called out and called forward, turning up to, I think it was like Dallas Mavericks versus Miami Heat. This is when LeBron and Bosh and Dwayne Wade were the three at the Miami Heat, and Nowitzki was the Dallas Mavericks. He was the pinnacle, and this is the year that they won. And I remember going to watch that NBA Finals and how awkward it was, because he was there, I was there. We were like the best of best friends, and all of a sudden there was this rift, there was this disconnection because I was that person. And instead of apologizing, instead of having a conversation, I just sat there and pretended like nothing had happened. And that is one of the reasons why I run away. But why I don't avoid conflict anymore is because I've learned how that impacts how you show up in your day-to-day life as you move forward. The more you choose to not take ownership of the decisions that you make when you hurt people, when you do stuff where you hurt yourself, that just continues, and you just get better at doing it, better at hiding it, better at avoiding the conflict, the conversation, and taking ownership, or asking someone to come forward to say, hey, this is what's happening. I'm not happy with what's going on. This doesn't feel right. Like, what you're doing isn't okay, and this is my boundary. Like, this is what I'm going to accept, this is what I'm not going to accept, and this is my boundary. And if you do that again, I'm going to have to put a boundary in between us, because that is not something that I want to be attached to or connected with. It doesn't feel right. And so when I look back at it now, it's people who, in business, who I was doing stuff with, and all of a sudden they were reaching out to clients that we had as a business, and talking and trying to get the clients themselves without having actually told me that they were stepping away from the business. Or it could be someone in my life from the past who I heard talking shit about the people that I love, talking shit about the people around us, and as soon as those people would come back into our environment, they wouldn't talk a shit about them anymore. They would pretend like they were the nicest, sweetest person. And so I remember having that conversation, and just both sides, both of those interactions, asking them to meet up, to catch up in person, making sure that I reset myself so that I don't go into it with like heavy emotion that's going to determine how I show up. It's like, no, resetting myself so that I'm regulated, so that I'm in a peaceful state. And I approach it from a place of like, hey, this is what's happening. Like, I can't continue to have this relationship if you keep doing that, if you keep showing up like that, if you keep treating me or the people I love and care about like that. That's not right. These are my boundaries. This is what it's going to be. And so, for a lot of people in those instances, and I think back to me when I did that to who was supposed to be my best friend, what we all struggle with when someone comes forward and calls us out and forward, and why people avoid conflict, is because being wrong feels like we're broken. Being wrong feels like we lose the safety of the identity and the mask that we wear in the way that we show up. And for a lot of us, it's doing things that we know we shouldn't do and then eventually being caught. And for most of us, it's hiding what we've done, it's lying about it. And so conflict, the idea of it, is more unsafe than just avoiding everything. Creating lies and letting those lies compound the more people question your lies about how you've shown up, how you've treated people, what it is that you've done. And so avoiding conflict, to me, I learnt the hard way how avoiding conflict and avoiding ownership and avoiding a straight up conversation where I take ownership, how that leads to becoming a heavier, more frustrated, more negative, and untrustworthy version of who I am. And so the first time that I realized that I was going to let this identity go and just stop lying was when I went on holiday, and I remember being told by Angel's mum, I'm pregnant and I'm keeping baby. And I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. I'm seeing a girl that I want to keep seeing. What the hell do I do here? Like, what the heck if I tell her that my ex is pregnant and I'm probably going to have a baby? I'm probably not going to be with her anymore. And so the first time in my life I decided to step into it and not lie and not hide things and not avoid potential conflict was telling her that. And I remember telling my friends, like, this is what's happening. I'm probably going to tell her. And I remember them saying, bro, don't do it. Just get with it. Just get with her. Just do it. Just hook up, man. Who cares? And I thought about it. Then I was like, nah. Like I don't want to start a relationship with someone who I like and hide from them the fact that I'm gonna have a baby. Like that scared me more than the risk of losing connection with someone that I actually liked. And that is where everything shifted and everything changed, and I started doing that more, being more open and honest. And I realized, holy crap, if I'm open and honest, it doesn't mean that somebody's gonna hate me. It doesn't mean that somebody's gonna dislike me. It doesn't mean that the people that I like are gonna step away. Yeah, some people might, and they deserve to if I've treated them real poorly. But if I'm just being honest about what's happening, people seem to trust honesty more than they trust someone who's been caught out in a lie. Because they know when the heavy shit goes down, when the stuff happens, that you're probably going to be open about it. And so they don't have to worry about trusting whether you are truly being authentic, honest, and open. And when you have relationships built on that connection, built on people who trust you being you, trust you not lying and using lies to get ahead or, mask whatever it is that you want to mask, relationships start building at such a deeper level. And so avoiding conflict only created more stress, more tension in my life, and I really hated myself because of it. I really hated who I was, and I was so good at masking it, at hiding it. But when I stopped doing that and I realized that honesty allowed me to be me, accept the results no matter what they are, and still have people that I love and care about in my life, that changed everything. And the more I've done, the more confident I've become in these conversations, in this communication, and making sure I am fully me and not being condescending, not telling someone if they've done something wrong that I feel is wrong, that I'm better than them and they're down here. It's like, no, this is what I want from our relationship and our connection. Can you do it? If not, that's okay. We can disconnect. And so for anyone out there struggling with avoiding conflict, just think back to where this started for you. Sheesh. I've done a lot of dumb shit. I've hurt a lot of people. And I've apologized to so many people for the way I've shown up and treated them. And there is no expectation that they accept it.